And there's different ways that you can control how they grow. The more you stir them, the faster they grow, because you break up the little cheesy shell that they form around them, and you expose them to more and more lactose
by increasing surface area.
Yeah, you're putting on their surface what their nutrient need is. Second, if you break them up into little tiny bits, they will grow very quick, because it's the surface of them that grows. So the larger the surface to volume ratio, the faster they can ferment things. So if you had a big one the size of a baseball, it would be fermenting things relatively slow, because it would only have the surface area of a baseball, even though it had the volume of a baseball. Incidentally, the largest one I've ever seen is about the size of a golf ball. And you have to be really careful. Like, the way you change them is you have to like scoop them out and just very gently place them, just because simply by jostling them at all, the lobes get so big that they just shear off one another. It'd be like if your left and right leg were each 3,000 pounds. The first step you took, you'd leave the other one behind you and just rip right off your body. So what's happening with these is they're, you know, like once they get big enough, the lobes just shear, just as you stir things. Yeah, so these things are cool. The other way that you can make them grow faster is the temperature. It's hot right now. The temperature is a big way to make them grow faster. And then the other way to make them grow faster is to give them fresh milk frequently. You know, I like very, very stout kefir. Like, I like it so stout that like it makes me pucker. Just because it's like, I really like sour cream tasting stuff. And so I let it ferment for a full 2 or 3 days. It starts to turn yellow with all the like B vitamins produced by the yeast. Like that's, so this is like 1 day in. And basically the ratio is approximately, it's 10 parts milk to 1 part kefir by volume. So if you had a grain that was the size of a tablespoon, you'd put it with 10 tablespoons of milk. But you can do it with much less or much more. It's a very, you know, it's like asking, you know, how much water does a garden need? Well, I mean, the garden will survive on less or more, but there's an optimal amount. And what I said was the optimal. How many of you would like to take home a kefir colony with you? Okay. Before you leave, we'll get you some. And would anyone like to try this? I'll give you I'll give you a spoon. And I'll give you 1 spoon of it.
Yeah, I'll try it.
So here, you can have this spoon.
What is recommended? How much do you take, or how often? What's
the therapeutic amount is supposed to be something like. I'll get you a napkin real quick. The therapeutic amount is supposed to be 1 cup.
1 cup?
Yeah. So 1 cup per day.
Per day.
But here's a spoon for anybody who wants to try some.
Yeah, it's pretty sour.
So most people don't eat it that sour. Most people let it go for 12, 24 hours and then drink it.
So you take what's left of the milk, as well as, you don't just scoop out the kefir, you get some milk too.
I'll show you right now. I'll show you how to do this.
And you can flavor it, right?
Oh yeah, you can put berries, whatever, you know, put it in a smoothie.
Yeah, I think
so I'll show you how to take care of it. You don't have to eat it.
I want to.
just have a smidgen of it. Oh, you don't have. Well, you can eat them too if you want.
Are you not supposed to eat them? Just the milk?
Just the milk. I mean, it's not going to make you sick, but yeah, basically you just drink the milk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You leave them alone and just add more milk and leave them alone.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you how how I garden them.
Reminds me of feta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's all you do
Okay.
is you just strain it. And you don't have to clean this. Again, this stuff is so hardy that this this thing's full of bacteria, but it's the good kind. There's no reason to clean it. And so what I do is I will gently sort of get the milk out of here. And this is what I'll drink tomorrow. And I don't drink much of it. I drink it for the probiotic reasons.
Could you use coconut milk?
You can for short periods of time. They require a lactose milk to survive indefinitely. But they can live in like soy milk, which I don't recommend. They can live in rice milk. They can live in coconut milk, almond milk, hazelnut milk, oat milk. All the milks, they're capable. Some of the organisms are perfectly fine with that kind of milk fermenting it, but not all of them. And in order for the colony to continue as a colony, all of them need to have their needs met. So people who drink like the coconut milk version, you would grow them in cow's milk, which is probably the least expensive of the milks that they can actually require, and then like you would take a couple of them and put them in the coconut milk and do them for a few days in the coconut milk, but then rescue their biology by putting them back in the cow's milk and then taking another one to do your...
Yeah.
Okay, so you're keeping them alive in your cow's milk, but because you've chosen not to drink that, you can move them back and forth.
Yeah. So basically, this is what they look like.
It's cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese.
They look like cottage cheese, but they have the sort of the texture of a gummy bear. They're like, and you're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it just so that you can see what they look like. I'm destroying their bacteria by putting chlorine on them, but I want you to, they'll grow back. I'm sort of like,
Oh no, massacre.
Genocide.
so what I'm going to do is I am going to make Robert a little colony here. I probably could have left the sauerkraut in there just because they would like it, I'm sure. I'll show you another thing I do with these paper towels. I'm not big on paper towel usage, but it's really good bedding for worms. And so what I do every time I use paper towels is I tear them into shreds like this. And then I just keep a little bedding bag. And then I just shred it, and this will become the bedding for either soldier flies or worms later. But yeah, does anybody else want cake? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, you do too? Okay, so there's 3. What we'll do is
Well,
we'll...
how quick it happens. It takes you 12 hours, right?
The kefir? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna ask you, how much do you want? Like, I could give you enough that within 5 hours it would be ready, or I could give you enough that it'll take several days to get ready.
Enough for a day, I guess.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is
Or couple days.
I love all your glass storage containers.
oh my gosh, you haven't even seen the beginning of it.
It's fantastic, though.
It's
I'm so sick of plastic ones that don't work.
come and look at this. This is unbelievable.
Oh my
like basically this entire thing is Pyrex.
That's awesome.
like at one time I realized I would cook every meal for myself for the rest of my life when I realized I was allergic to everything. And so I was like, well, this stuff is pretty cheap and